Sharon Waxman spent a long time writing for the New York Times. She left to start The Wrap. She says the paper could have revealed Weinstein's alleged misdeeds all the way back in 2004, but spiked the piece instead. Sharon Waxman joins us tonight. Sharon, thanks for coming on. So,
sure.
So to what extent did they have the story, are you saying, in 2004?
Yeah, so first of all, just one nuance, which is I said the piece was gutted, not spiked. The piece did run, but there was no reference to sexual anything or women in the piece. Clearly, the piece that Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey wrote last week was really a great piece of reporting, a lot of work. I had a piece of that story 13 years ago. And I was really very disappointed that we weren't able to get it into print. What appeared in print was a piece that was buried on the inside of the culture section, and it's basically talked about a Miramax executive. Miramax was the company that Harvey and Bob Weinstein had started originally, and it was owned by the Disney company at that time, and it was talked about him being on the payroll but then being fired. And it was kind of a confusing story if you didn't understand that what the role that person actually played was as a procurer for Harvey. That was what my sources had told me, and I had gone to Rome, gone to Italy to find that story based on tips that I'd gotten, and I convinced my editor at the time to send me, and then a new editor came in, and that editor kind of inherited the story, and what appeared in print after a great deal of pressure and pushback from Harvey Weinstein, as he always did when there was any negative story in the wings, he pushed back really hard.
Why did nobody write that story subsequently? I mean, it sounds, I knew nothing about this, but it sounds like from all the accounts I've read, this was widely known. Is that true?
I would say that there were always rumors about sexual misconduct. I don't think that anybody knew that there was harassment of any kind inside the company. That was not the reputation, but actresses. And there were stories out there, and there were many of us who tried to get them. I, in fact, did speak to one woman who had been paid off on that same trip in London, but she really wouldn't tell me anything that I could publish. So that part of that piece of the story that I got was not in any form, because she, of course, had signed a non-disclosure. She was terrified of saying anything, but yet I knew she existed, but I didn't know exactly what had happened. You know, all I knew that there was a payoff. Certainly nothing that I could put into print. But the other piece of the story that I had reported could have started the conversation, could have exposed a piece of it. And in fact, you know, the story the New York Times ultimately ran goes back 30 years. So you're talking about a lot of past offenses that I think could have been perhaps, I mean, what I wonder is, you know, could some of this, the more recent, you know, things that happen, might any of that have been avoided had the New York Times published what I had in my notebooks 13 years ago?
I mean, I guess it's unknowable, but common sense suggests, of course it could have been avoided. I mean, that's a big forum. If you print a story like that, you know, it has effects. I wish they'd run your piece. Sharon Waxman, thank you for explaining that to us. I appreciate it.
Thanks.